With NXT Deadline just days away, WWE NXT presented an action-packed go-home show. The Iron Survivor Challenge needed 2 more participants, 1 for the men and 1 for the women. 2 triple threat matches were set for the show to determine those competitors. Fan favorites Axiom and Andre Chase were set to clash with the dominant Von Wagner, while Indy Hartwell hoped to punch her ticket against 2 relative rookies in Wendy Chu and Fallon Henley. The Grayson Waller effect would feature Carmelo Hayes, JD McDonough, and Joe Gacy, ahead of them facing off in the men's Iron Survivor Challenge. Pretty Deadly promised a real Christmas story, and Tony D'Angelo returned to action. As Bron Breakker and Apollo Crews approached their highly anticipated NXT Championship match, and Mandy Rose awaited her next challenger, the show was certain to have plenty of big moments. Hello, friends, and welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Madness. No, don't adjust your audio. It is indeed Anthony Florio here, sitting in tonight for good old MF Michael Fletcher. I'm not sure what the reasoning for it is, but nonetheless, MF will not be with us this evening, so I will be sitting in for him tonight. And I'm here always, and joining me as always, of course, the phenom Michael Bullock. And well, last night, NXT, it was the go-home show for Deadline. Of course, the Deadline event takes place this Saturday night. And with all that, let's dive right on into the action. And we started it off with that first triple threat match. It was the men's triple threat match. Von Wagner squaring off against Axiom and Andre Chase. The winner of the match, in 11 minutes and 54 seconds, Axiom. Axiom wins the match in 11 minutes and 54 seconds. Great way to start it off. This is about 3.25 to 3.5 stars. This was surprisingly engaging between 3 men who have limited history. Von Wagner and Axiom have chemistry to explore, which WWE should highlight. It was surprising for the superhero to pick up the win, but he is clearly the most talented in-ring performer of the 3. He will add so much to the men's Iron Survivor Challenge, especially if he starts the match. Von Wagner picked up another loss, while Andre Chase cannot catch many breaks, but both have stories to tell coming out of this. Andre Chase caught Axiom off a springboard with a kick and powerbomb for a near fall. Von Wagner went for his finisher, but Axiom reversed it into a triangle choke. Great way to start the match off here. This was a good 3.25, teetering on 3.5 stars. Very good way to start the show. So not much more to say here. Michael Bullock, come on in. And we talked about this during our Raw chat Monday night. And correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't you pick Axiom to win this match? If so, I believe you had this one.
Yes, that is indeed correct there, Florio. We did talk about it, and I did pick Axiom to win this one. And lo and behold, I was correct on it. It's just that there's so much of Axiom. I mean, he's so talented. I mean, it would have made sense for Von Wagner or even Andre Chase to go over in this one. So to me, the obvious choice to me was Axiom here, and that's what we got here. So now he punches his ticket into that match at Deadline, where he joins the other members to see who will be the next in line to maybe challenge Bron Breakker. So yeah, we'll wait and see what happens. But I think Axiom could be an X factor in this match. So we'll see what happens. So 3.5 stars is my rating. A good way to start out this edition of NXT. So it is yours, Florio.
All right. Then they had a vignette with Bron Breakker and Apollo Crews fishing. So nice little segment there. Then from there, Bryson Montana was in the ring for a match, apparently supposedly against Javier Bernal, but was interrupted, but got attacked by Indusure, Sanga, and Veer Mahan, and nothing really to speak of there. Lot of backstage stuff here and promo stuff. And then we had the in-ring return of the Don, Tony D'Angelo. He went up against Zion Quinn. Tony D'Angelo wins the match in 1:55, where we're not going to waste any time on that. It's a cutout, really. So I will say a couple things here quickly. As far as what happened with Javier Bernal and Bryson Montana and Indus Sher and all that, it was a smart segment for a variety of reasons to continue to highlight the feud of Indus Sher and the Creeds, which is the brand's hottest angle at the moment. Delaying that match may be beneficial to NXT as it can keep building. And it also gave a fun spot to Bernal, who has found his way as a coward heel. He had to decide between trying to take an easy win or avoid Indus Sher. Took the safe option. So not much more there. D'Angelo and Quinn. D'Angelo in 1:55. And yeah, how the mighty have fallen. I mean, Quinn was completely squashed in this short match, and WWE looks ready to release him sooner than use him seriously any longer. So we're not gonna, get much more into that. But after the match was over, D'Angelo and Stacks cut a promo, and they got interrupted by Wes Lee, and then interrupted by Dijak on the Tron there. So it's a shame that it looks as if all three are going to miss Deadline Saturday night. Hopefully NXT will feature that feud prominently to end the year and make up for missing this pay-per-view event. And a lot of stuff, a lot of other meh stuff here. Charlie Dempsey went up against Hank Walker. Charlie Dempsey wins the match, 4 minutes and 6 seconds. And I'll tell you what, it was a fine enhancement match, building up the danger of Dempsey as a competitor. But Walker's not the type of wrestler who can challenge him in the ring, so there wasn't much to see here. It'll be interesting to watch how Dempsey develops. He is William Regal's son, which puts a lot of expectations on him. He cannot talk like his father yet, and the in-ring work is still coming along. But if it can all click, he can be special. And the report going around is that William Regal left AEW so he could go back to WWE and serve as a coach for his son, and among other things. So, and I'm not surprised, and I am not at all surprised. So we'll wait and see what happens with that. All right. And then we had the NXT Tag Team Champions, Pretty Deadly, with what they call the real Christmas story. It was a snooze fest of a segment. That was until it's a new day. Yes, it is. The New Day shows up, and they challenge Pretty Deadly to an NXT Tag Team Championship match. And Michael Bullock, guess what? This Saturday night at Deadline, Pretty Deadly are going to defend the NXT Tag Team Championship against the New Day, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods. How about it?
Yeah, I mean, well, like you said, this was a snooze fest of a segment until the surprising appearance of the New Day when they show up at NXT, and then basically now they're going to be the ones to face Pretty Deadly this Saturday at Deadline for the tag team title. So it should be pretty interesting, but I mean, I got a feeling Pretty Deadly is going to go over here, but the New Day is going to give them one heck of a fight. So NXT, I hope you enjoy it, because you want to know why this Deadline is going to be really good? In the immoral words of Big E, because New
Day
rocks. New Day rocks.
New
Day rocks.
Hit it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, just made my night.
And if Fletch was here, he's probably like, "Oh my gosh, really?"
I'm sure he will be once he gets once he starts.
Once he gets a hold of this, you know he'll do that. There's no doubt about it in my mind.
And we know Didi Woodson would have done the same thing. So
Probably have the Michael Fletcher I can't take it face.
And a golden opportunity for the New Day to become the WWE NXT World Tag Team Champion.
Champions, baby.
Bye. So there you go. So yeah, I'm right there with you. All right. New Day making a surprise appearance in NXT was a very welcome surprise. It gives Pretty Deadly a rival for Saturday night, once more setting up the question of whether they can pull off an upset against the main roster tandem. New Day are one of the best and greatest tag teams in the world. While it may not make sense for Kofi and Xavier to win the titles, they are the rare team that can genuinely outmatch Pretty Deadly, which is a tandem that feels unstoppable against any others in NXT. And at this point, WWE has set up Pretty Deadly as instant successes on the main roster with their recent list of opponents. And that's all there is to say on that. So the in-ring debut of Isla Dawn. She went up against Thea Hale. Isla Dawn won the match, 2 minutes and 51 seconds. There wasn't much to see. It would have been helpful to showcase more of Dawn's offense. Instead, the two crawled to a finish in a 3-minute bout. What worked much better was the continued build of Isla Dawn versus Alba Fire. This comes off as the last stand of Alba Fire before she heads to the main roster, and she is doing what she can to make this feud matter, even through her body language. And you noticed Isla Dawn told Alba Fire to watch the match closely. Thea Hale hit a springboard senton for a near fall, but it only seemed to anger Dawn, who started talking to herself before taking over. And Dawn misted one of the referees who got in the way of her getting to Alba Fire. So not much more to say there. Then we had Idris Anafi and Malik Blade squaring off against Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen. Briggs and Jensen in 3 minutes and 24 seconds. Another so-so match here. Honestly, it was a little disappointing. These are talented teams that got stuck in a miniature match on a night where there was room for more. Everyone involved could continue to benefit from more in-ring time. The action itself was fine, but there's no reason anyone involved should be getting squashed. While the distraction set up the finish, Anafi and Blade have earned a bit more respect. And that's really all there is to say on that. All right. Now the other big match, the women's triple threat match to get to the women's Iron Survivor match. Indy Hartwell squaring off against Fallon Henley and Wendy Chu. And the winner of the match, in 10 minutes and 15 seconds, Indy Hartwell, Indie Wrestling, going. All right. Now, this was not at the level of the men's triple threat, but all three worked hard to make the most of the spotlight. Hartwell guided the story of the match and picked up the win thanks to opportunistic tactics. It was the right choice for Indie Wrestling to win. She fits this match best. She fits that match best, given her experience. While she still has to prove herself at Deadline, she could earn a main roster call-up if she works at her best. Both Chu and Henley would have been more interesting additions to the Women's Iron Survivor Challenge, but the match is set as it is, and that's all there is to say on that. So, Chu planted Henley with a release belly-to-belly suplex, but walked into a spine buster from Hartwell for a near fall that Henley broke up. And that's really the only thing that stood out about this match, notably. But other than that, this was a 3 to 3.25 star match. This was the second best fight of the night. And Michael Bullock, like we talked about the other night during our Raw chat, we also talked about this match. And I believe you had this one as well. I think you had Indy Hartwell winning this match. Did you not?
Yes, I had Indy Hartwell winning this one. And, yep, that's what we saw right here. So, 3.25. I'm with you on that one. And Hartwell, I think, is the right choice here. And although it would have been interesting if they had Chu or Fallon Henley go over here, but Hartwell was the right choice. And yeah, and like you said, I mean, she could be a call up to the main roster if she really continues to improve, but we'll wait and see how it goes. So 3.25. So, and as far as my overall thoughts on this edition of NXT, I think I can only give this a 4 out of 10. I mean, this was. I mean, yeah, too many short matches. Too many segments. I mean, you only had 2 good matches here, so yeah, this was not a good addition as far as I'm concerned. So I don't know where you stand, Florio, but it's a 4 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, and the only thing that was left was the Grayson Waller effect, but we're not going to really address that because that was a segment, to be honest with you. So
and that's the thing that really drove it to a 4 out of 10.
Yeah, exactly. While that was a group of 5 talented wrestlers, most of them did not sound good in this segment. Joe Gacy talking about the penalty box felt out of character. JD McDonough talked about hurting people without selling his intellect as he has previously. Axiom is a limited talker. Carmelo Hayes and Grayson Waller did not talk enough to keep control of the segment. This segment was made for them, but they played second fiddle to competitors less likely to win on Saturday. The match should be good, but the hype for this men's Iron Survivor Challenge is fairly low. And, we're not going to address that much more. I'm right there with Bullock here. This was a 4 out of 10 show. It was an underwhelming go-home show that did not get us more excited for this event overall. They did a lot of last-minute match booking without real storytelling and rounding out the rest of the deadline card. That said, we are looking forward to the matches added, especially New Day versus Pretty Deadly. That match doesn't need build, given the in-ring talent both teams have. I was kind of upset we weren't treated to an actual program between both teams because both teams excel in terms of skits. Best match build so far has been Braun Breaker and Apollo Crews, mostly because Breaker has got some long-time needed character development, coming off as his own man, as opposed to mini Scott Steiner. But, it is what it is. So that's a 4 out of 10. I 100% agree with Bullock's rating on that one. Blast show as usual. So with that, let's get into AEW Dynamite. Big AEW Dynamite tonight. From the HEB Center in Cedar Park, Texas. And we started it off with the AEW Dynamite Diamond Battle Royale. And, excuse me 1 second. I forgot to do my special intro on this. So just give me one moment here. Okay. There we go. AEW World Tag Team Champions, The Acclaim, faced the greatest threat to their reign tonight when they defended against Ring of Honor, New Japan, or I should say IWGP, and AAA Tag Team Champions, FTR, in a much-anticipated main event showdown. The match headlined an episode of Dynamite that also featured promos from World Heavyweight Champion MJF, former champion Jon Moxley, and AEW Women's Champion Jamie Hayter. What do the top stars in the company do and say as the company looked to wrap up the first episode of the last month of its most tumultuous year? Let's find out right now. And we started it off, like I said, with the Dynamite Diamond Battle Royale. And the winner of the match, in 15 minutes and 9 seconds, absolute Ricky Starks. Just for the record, the participants in this match, in no particular order: absolute Ricky Starks, Jungle Boy Jack Perry, Butcher and the Blade, Dustin Rhodes, AEW All-Atlantic Champion Orange Cassidy, Brian Cage, Lee Moriarty, All Ego Ethan Page, Kip Sabian, Matt Hardy, Captain Shawn Dean, and Dalton Castle from Ring of Honor. But it was absolute Ricky Starks that won the match. And we had a 2-for-1 deal because then literally right after Ricky Starks won the Battle Royale, the World Heavyweight Champion MJF shows up, and the two of them engaged in a hell of a promo segment, let me tell you. All right. As we always say, Battle Royales are very tricky to rate. But in this case, I'm going to give this about 3.5 stars. I mean, the contest featured some solid storytelling and the introduction of new stories and feuds, such as Jungle Boy versus The Firm, and the latest in the ongoing program involving All Ego Ethan Page and Matt Hardy. Whereas most battle royales are afterthoughts, a cheap way to steal a house, or take up a segment or two of television. This was a narrative tool that served a purpose and will have long-reaching effects, or at the least should. Eclipsing that, though, was one of the best promo segments of the year between Ricky Starks and MJF, who interrupted his post-match celebration, taking personal, explosive shots at each other on the mic. They hyped the hell out of next week's title match and had the fans in Starks' adopted hometown of Austin, Texas, red hot for the charismatic babyface. And for a company that often overthinks things or tries to get too clever or artsy, because of the guys in power positions in the company, this was perfectly executed and created a ton of intrigue surrounding next week's main event. The enormous pop for Dustin Rhodes was nice to see, particularly after the Natural announced the end of his in-ring career in 2023. The Blade interfered, pulling Cassidy to the floor and drawing a considerable amount of boos. Rhodes delivering a running Canadian Destroyer and eliminated Sabian. The boys momentarily prevent Castle from being eliminated, carrying him around the ringside area and placing him back on the apron. Lee Moriarty and W. Morrissey attack Jungle Boy. Morrissey choke slamming Jungle Boy neck first on the ring apron. Ethan Page ordered Matt Hardy around, but Matt finally appeared to break a mid-chance of delete. The delete chance, you know how much Bullock and I love that. Instead, he joined All Ego in beating down Starks. And then in the promo, MJF said, "You ain't nothing more than a dollar store, Dwayne. So you know what I'm going to start calling you. I'm going to start calling you the Pebble," MJF said. And then Ricky Starks responded, "I'm going to take the responsibility off your plate, little boy." And that's really all there was to say on that. So 3.5 stars for the match. The segment was the segment of the night. Nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, this match and segment alone was better than damn near everything we had combined on NXT last night. What a way to start it off. Great battle royale. And how about that exchange between Ricky Starks and MJF? Wow, that was something. So Bullock's yours.
Yeah, that was definitely something. I mean, those two things alone were better than the entire NXT show. But what did you rate this, Florio?
I rated it 3.5.
Yeah, I'm around that 3.5 as well. But Florio, there is one thing I need to address when it comes to the Battle Royal.
I know where you're going. I'm sorry I didn't bring it up, but
do you know it?
Because of the fact that friends, if you haven't watched our show over the years, it's well documented that Michael Bullock and myself both have, or especially Bullock, has a major pet peeve when it comes to battle royales, and that is when an individual in the match gets eliminated by somebody who wasn't involved in the damn match, and yet you can't have a battle royal without that. Now, can you? I say you can, but unfortunately, they say not.
Well, wait a minute. You say did I just hear you say that you can?
No. We can do without that nonsense. Unfortunately, the promoters, they can't do without it. We can. They can't. Simple.
Yeah, I mean, and what Florio was talking about here is what was Jungle Boy Jack Perry. I mean, he already eliminated. Now, who was it that he eliminated? Lee Moriarty?
Jungle Boy. Who did he get out? He give me 1 second here while I look back at this.
Yeah, because it was Lee Moriarty he already eliminated, and then as he was hanging down, and then all of a sudden, William Morrissey comes and he boots him, causing him to be eliminated. Now, this is why I said it when it comes to any battle royal, whether it's AEW or even WWE for that matter.
And especially the Royal Rumble match.
Especially the Royal Rumble. They should only be eliminated by someone who is in the match. You get eliminated by someone who is not in the match, that should not count. That should not count as an elimination.
It's an
no way, no how. I mean, you would have thought Tony Khan would have avoided this, but no. And he obviously had to take a page from McMahon, and this is one of the reasons why, Florio, that AEW is in such a rut right now. because Tony Khan is making poor booking decisions, and especially something like what we saw tonight when Jack Perry get eliminated by someone who's not even in the match. So Tony Khan, I'm sorry, I gotta call you out on this one, and no wonder why your company is going down the freaking tube right now. Your shows are good, but some of the things you do just really rubs me the wrong way. So that's all I got to say on it. And when it comes to Ricky Starks, he wins it, and basically the back and forth with Starks and MJF was pretty damn good. And of course, now at Winter is Coming, not only does Ricky Starks have a chance to win the AEW World Title, he has a chance to win that diamond ring that MJF has. So he has a chance to take two things for the price of one. So we'll see what happens here. I don't see it happening. I mean, Ricky Starks will definitely give MJF one hell of an effort, but in the end, I just think it's going to be too much for him. So the match was 3.5, but Tony Khan, I'm going to say it once, I'm going to say it again. This is the reason why you've made some poor booking decisions, and I mean, your shows are good, but some of the things you do, it just irks me. So, and if anybody wants to call me out and say, oh, you're a Tony Khan hater, you know what? If you haven't watched some of the things that have gone on with AEW backstage, especially with the booking decisions, you don't know jack shit about wrestling. So, period. End of quotation, end of statement. It's yours, Florio.
Very good. Let's move on to our next match, which was the battle for the TNT Championship. The champion, Samoa Joe, defending against the challenger and former TNT champion in his own right, Darby Allin. Winner of the match in 11 minutes and 11 seconds. And still the TNT champion, it is Samoa Joe. And Michael Bullock, he won the match. The only way he knows. You got a little ahead of me. I was trying to set it up. Darby was going for the coffin drop, but Joe caught him, and he caught him with our favorite submission move, the move that we love to say.
Coquita clutch.
The Coquita clutch. Yes, I immediately did that, and I thought of you as it happened. So, Joe, but nonetheless, Joe retains the TNT title over Darby Allin, 11 minutes and 11 seconds.
Yeah, I'll give this about a 3.5 for this one. I mean, this was a solid match here, but the outcome was never in doubt. But obviously, after the match, I mean, Wardlow came out, so it looks like Wardlow's not done with Samoa Joe, and a match between these two for the TNT title is going to happen somewhere down the line. So there's really nothing more to say. 3.5 is my rating. It's yours, Florio.
I agree. All right. Trying to find it here. Okay. It was almost uncomfortable to watch at times, with each bump by Darby appearing closer and closer to dealing him a significant injury. On the other hand, it was an impressive display of brutality by Samoa Joe, who looks to have rediscovered his killer edge and is ready to go on one last great run. The impending match with Wardlow should be a ton of fun, and a battle of two of the better big men in the company. An overzealous Darby Allin overshot his intended target during a sliding tope, crashing and burning on the unprotected floor. Joe gave him no reprieve, driving him back onto that floor ahead of the commercial break. Joe ricocheted Allin off the ring post into the floor after the break. The one-sided domination continuing as Doc Samson checked on the challenger at ringside. Allin mounted a comeback that included a code red for a count of 2. And Joe delivered a wicked muscle buster, driving Allin back first on the exposed trucks of his skateboard. Yeesh. And let me tell you something, Michael Bullock. That Samoa Joe you saw tonight, that's the Samoa Joe that I remember when I first saw him in TNA Impact Wrestling back in 2004, 2005, somewhere in that area. That same Samoa Joe who went unbeaten, who had an unblemished unbeaten streak for a year and a half. That's the Joe that I saw tonight. I was having flashbacks of badass monster badass heel Samoa Joe when he debuted in TNA Impact back in 2005 and was having those legendary battles with the likes of AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels, among others. But, oh my goodness, that was something. 3.5 stars. I 100% agree with the ratings. So not much more to say here. We move on to a tag team matchup. Jake Hager and the Ring of Honor Pure Champion Daniel Garcia squaring off against Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta. Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta win the match, 12 minutes and 36 seconds. Again, we say, another 3.5 star match. A hard-fought, ultra-competitive tag team match. The match was fine for what it was, but at the same time, I mean, it was great. It was fine for what it was, but everything involving the Blackpool Combat Club and the Jericho Appreciation Society, it was more of the same, with nothing new or overly interesting to add to it. Claudio looked great as always, but Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia are ice cold compared to where they were 3 months ago, and nothing about this made their match on Saturday at the Final Battle pay-per-view that much more interesting. The William Regal goodbye was great stuff, and Moxley appeared emotional, adding gravity to the situation. Castagnoli teased putting on Hager's purple bucket hat, but instead threw it to the arena floor, earning an oddly mixed reaction. Chants of "We the People" filled the arena, a nod to Castagnoli and Hager's run as the real Americans in the WWE. Taz on commentary said he's not even in the match, and the fans are chanting "Sammy sucks," pointing out the audience's disdain for the Spanish God. Hager failed to rotate all the way around on a Hurricanrana attempt on the top rope, landing face and shoulder first. And that's really all there is to say on that. So that was another solid 3.5 star match. So there isn't much more to say on this. So Michael Bullock, even though it was more of the same from the BCC and the JAS, I mean, still a very good match. Our boy Claudio, we got to see the Cesaro swing, and
no. You gotta say it the right way.
The Cesaro swing.
Now that's how you do it.
That was for MF because MF's the one who set that up, and of course you heard the crowd chanting "We the People." Definitely conjured up memories of Hager and Claudio when they were the real Americans in the WWE, and then Tony Schiavone showed them this little interview that he did with William Regal a couple of weeks ago prior to his exit. So, wow, another good solid 2-for-1 here.
Yeah, I mean, this was another solid good 2-for-1, especially with that, and yeah, another 3.5 star match. I mean, it doesn't add any build for that match with Garcia and Yuta. I still think it's going to be a good match, no doubt about it. But I do agree with you in some sense on it. But the thing is, of course, with Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta going over, I don't know about you, Florio, but I got this funny feeling that we could be having that booking 101 effect here where looking like maybe Daniel Garcia is going to hold on to the Ring of Honor Pure Championship and Jericho holding on to the Ring of Honor World title. And I mean, I hope I'm wrong on the world title match, but I just got this funny feeling. And I'm going on the record for it with saying this, if Jericho does go over on Claudio Castagnoli, I got this feeling he's going to be in the same route that he was near his end run with WWE. I mean, he came into AEW hot, of course, finally winning a world title, and now being degraded to being potentially part of the Jericho Appreciation Society. That would not sit well with me at all. So 3.5 stars for me for this match. It's yours, Florio.
All right, and we move on to a 6-woman tag team match. TBS champion Jade Cargill and the baddies Leela Gray and Red Velvet squaring off against Sky Blue, Madison Rayne, and former baddie Kiera Hogan. Jade Cargill and the baddies win the match, 8 minutes and 33 seconds. Michael Bullock, Jade Cargill keeps on rolling, now 43-0.
Yeah, and and I continue to say this, and I'm going to continue saying it. She is the most dominant woman right now in professional wrestling. Better than any of the other women in AEW, and yet better than any women in WWE right now. I mean, there are certain women in WWE I think that could go one-on-one with Jade Cargill that could give her a challenge. I mean, one woman I think could, and Florio, I don't know how you feel about this one. How about the EST against Jade Cargill?
Now that would be something.
Or how about the man Becky Lynch?
That would be another good fantasy scenario. But the one that I would love to see, how about Ronda Rousey and Jade Cargill?
Oh man, yeah. Then we would like to see how tough Jade is against someone like Ronda Rousey. So, but this impressive run has just been something. The only question, obviously, is Florio is who's going to be the one to stop her? Who's going to be the one to hand that first L to her? We don't know, but it was a fine match. I think it could have been better. I'll give this about maybe 2.5 for the effort. It's yours, Florio.
Yeah. By default, this was the worst fight of the night. But it was a 2.5 star match. I 100% agree with it. Just give me a moment here. Don't really see anything here. All right. All right. It was too rushed to matter, with the entire heat section taking place during the break and Kiera Hogan's hot tag being relegated to a minute or so before the TBS champ stole the spotlight and scored the win. It's clear Hogan is headed for a title shot, but right now, everything with Cargill feels like it is an autopilot as she continues to compile wins, but shows no signs of any evolution of this story or endgame in sight. Sky Blue tried for a baseball slide, but Velvet caught her in the ring apron and pounded away, turning the tide in favor of the heels entering the break. Cargill absolutely obliterated Kiera Hogan with a spine buster. So, not much more to say there. And then in the main event, the big main event for the AEW World Tag Team Championship, the champions, the Acclaimed, Max Caster and Anthony Bowens, defending against the Ring of Honor, IWGP, and AAA Tag Team Champions, Dax Harwood, Cash Wheeler, FTR. The winners of the match, 17 minutes and 1 second. And still, the AEW World Tag Team Champions, it is the Acclaimed. I believe I start off on this one. So this was the fight of the night. 4.25 stars. This was a damn good match that probably should have been even better, but was hurt exponentially by the rushback stretch. TV time was running out, and they jam-packed a number of spots on the back end that probably could have stood to breathe a bit. FTR is very clearly one or two in the best tag team conversation, and working with them will only help Bowens and Caster grow as wrestlers. This was a nice taste of what the two teams are capable of, but we really need a pay-per-view showdown to get the full effect. And then after the match, the Gun Club revealed that FTR will defend their Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles against the Briscoes Saturday at Final Battle in a double dog collar match. Considering the history between those teams, the reaction of fans across social media for the first two matches, and the desire to see them do battle again, tacking it on as an afterthought was ass backward, to say the least, and further evidence that those in power may not actually realize what they have in Harwood and Wheeler. The Acclaimed applied stereo sharpshooters to FTR, insulting their well-known love and admiration for Bret the Hitman Hart. A spike pile driver by FTR earned a 2 count and a solid near fall spot. Champions delivered a Casadora/cutter combination for a 2 count of their own. Bowens just narrowly broke up the pin after a big rig from FTR. And Wheeler sold the shock of the finish, the disappointment painting his face. Excellent all-around match. 4.25 stars. Fight of the night. Nothing more to say here. Michael Bullock, I mean, and you wonder why we wanted to see this World Tag Team title match, and because we knew it was going to deliver, but it over delivered here tonight. 4.25 stars, 17 minutes and 1 second.
Yeah, we knew this was going to be a good match, but it definitely over delivered. So 4.25 stars. I definitely agree with that rating. I mean, it was just so good, and yeah, now now FTR's got to deal with the Briscoes at Final Battle this Saturday in a double dog collar match, and we know that's going to be. I mean, it's going to be. It could be a hard. It's going to be a hardcore style match with these, especially with what we've seen from these dog collar matches, and don't be surprised if we get some blood in this one. So, 4.25. I agree with you on that. And as far as my overall rating on this edition of Dynamite, a very, very good show. I mean, I'll give this about 8 out of 10 on this one. I mean, the lone fight that was the worst fight of the night was that 6-woman tag, even though it wasn't all that bad, but everything else was solid to good to great. So 8 out of 10. It's yours, Florio.
Yeah, 8 out of 10 for me as well. Another very good Dynamite tonight, setting the table for what should be an equally exciting winner is coming next week, especially that world title match with MJF and Ricky Starks. That's going to be something. That's got match of the year potential, perhaps. We'll see. Show stealer potential. And we'll see how the rest of the card looks, as I'm sure more will be announced in probably maybe Friday night on Rampage, but we'll find out. But yeah, that's the story. Fight of the night was the main event, no question about that. That World Tag Team title matchup. We had some. I mean, all the matches were solid to good to great, and the worst fight of the night actually got 8.5 minutes. And if your worst fight of the night is 2.5 stars, you're definitely doing something right. So so there isn't much more to say on this. One last order of business, and that is for us to preview Thursday Night Football. A matchup that's not as exciting as last week. Last week was one of the more anticipated matches when it was my Buffalo Bills against Bullock's New England Patriots. But this time around, we go from that to a game that is, unfortunately, it has been dubbed our Zonk Game of the Week on our side of the ledger, as it will feature the Las Vegas Raiders squaring off against the Los Angeles Rams from SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. Amazon Prime Video, as always. And and of course, on the call for that, as always, Al Michaels, Kirk Herbstreit, Kaylee Hartung, they will have it. And just looking for all my information here. All right. For those of you in Las Vegas and Los Angeles who may not have Amazon Prime Video, there is an alternative. There are alternative channels you all can watch. Las Vegas, you can watch the game on KTNV Channel 13. That's KTNV Channel 13. It's an ABC affiliate. For Los Angeles, you can watch the game on KTTV Fox 11. KTTV Fox 11, Los Angeles. So that's how you can watch the game tomorrow night, for those of you in LA and Vegas who don't have Prime Video. Las Vegas opening up as a 6.5-point favorite. Raiders lead the all-time series 8-6. The Rams, however, have won the last 2 meetings in this series. Their last meeting was 2018, and that was in Oakland. And the Rams won that game by a score of 33-13. When the last time the Rams were the home team, it was in 2014 in St. Louis, and the Rams put an absolutely a holiday hammed the Raiders 52-0 in 2014. The last time these two teams met at the LA Rams, you got to go back to 1994. Raiders won that game by a score of 20-17. And the Rams have only beaten the Raiders once at home as the LA Rams, and that was all the way back in 1977, a 20-14 win. So a lot of history with those two teams. So with that, let's get into our preview of Thursday Night Football between the Raiders and the Rams tomorrow night. Just give me one moment here. A little slow. Okay. The Las Vegas Raiders are suddenly winners of 3 straight games, and they look like one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now. Because, and you want to know why? It's very simple. To put it simply, Davante Adams has been nothing short of dominant these last few weeks. We all know that Adams is a great and dominant player on a regular basis, but the Raiders force-feeding him hadn't resulted in team success as the team faltered to a 2-7 start this season. Then a matchup against the Denver Broncos 3 weeks ago sparked something for this Raider team. Davante Adams walked it off with an epic route against Pat Surtain II in overtime, and the Raiders once again walked off the following week in Seattle on an 86-yard touchdown run by Josh Jacobs. Last week, the Raiders won in a bit more straightforward manner against the Los Angeles Chargers, and we finally saw a dominant performance from Chandler Jones. Can the Raiders extend their streak to 4 games against the Rams tomorrow night? I say yes, because this is as good of a chance as any to beat the Rams. The Rams don't have Matthew Stafford. They don't have Cooper Kupp. They don't have Allen Robinson. And I'm not sure how you expect anything but a Raider win here unless John Wolford plays out of his mind. I got the Las Vegas Raiders winning this game. My final score, I will go, I think it could be closer than you think, but I think the Raiders will pull it out. I'm going to say 27-20. The Las Vegas Raiders defeat the Los Angeles Rams. Because remember, the Rams hung with Seattle this past Sunday, but ultimately Seattle did get them at the end. So I'm going to say 27-20. Las Vegas, the Raiders, they win it. Make it 4 in a row for them. And not much more to say. Michael Bullock, don't look now, but here come the Vegas Raiders. After starting 2-7, they've now won 3 in a row. I hear 4 in a row. Do you hear 4 in a row?
I smell 4 in a row. I mean, like you said, because for the Rams, no Matthew Stafford, no Cooper Kupp, no Allen Robinson. And I don't even know, I mean, if Aaron Donald's going to be playing in this one. So if that's the case, I definitely smell a Vegas Raiders victory, and I smell 4 in a row for them. So I got the Vegas Raiders winning this one as well. So with that being said, Florio, let's put a bow on this edition of Wednesday Night Madness.
We'll do, Bullock, and that's exactly what we're going to do. That will indeed put the bow on this special edition of Wednesday Night Madness. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. We'll be back with you tomorrow night, 10:30, right back here on the Tone 25. As starting tomorrow night and for the rest of the season, our NFL show moving from Saturday to Thursday. From now on, for the rest of the season, starting tomorrow, it will be TXN Sports World NFL Thursday. And if time permits, we'll discuss the Raider Ram game, but we will preview the remaining slate of week number 14. I believe there's 12 remaining games because I believe this is the final bye week. 6 teams are on bye this week. We'll address who those teams are, and we'll talk about the notable games of the week. Notable games of the week. Our game of the week: the New York Jets and the Buffalo Bills. Big game in the AFC East. Of course, you got the Philadelphia Eagles squaring off against the New York Giants. You got the Minnesota Vikings against the Detroit Lions. That game just got interesting. Of course, America's game of the week on Fox, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the San Francisco 49ers. A game that was flexed from late Sunday afternoon to Sunday Night Football. The Miami Dolphins and the Los Angeles Chargers. And those are the most notable games of the week. And but we'll get into all of it tomorrow night, week number 14 of the NFL, as we start TXN Sports World NFL Thursday for the rest of the season starting tomorrow. And then Friday night, 11 p.m. following Rampage. Hopefully MF will be with us for it on his channel, BraceFan 95, the Cerebral Smack Talk. Friday night SmackDown, AEW Rampage, and our preview of NXT Deadline. We'll get into all that on Friday night. No word yet on when our Deadline recap will be. As soon as we know when that will be, we'll let you all know. It could be Saturday. It might be during one of our shows next week. I don't know. We'll find out soon enough. Hopefully, we'll put our heads together and figure something out with that. And then we do it all again next week with next Monday night with Ridiculously Raw as we continue on. So with that, until tomorrow night for TXN Sports World NFL Thursday, Anthony Florio here for the Phenom Michael Bullock, and in spirit, of course, good old MF Michael Fletcher. Hopefully he'll be back with us tomorrow night. Hopefully he'll be all right. Not sure what happened to him tonight. If he's not feeling well, we wish him the best. We hope that he feels better soon and that he comes back tomorrow night. And of course, also in spirit, of course, always and forever, the First Lady, the Twisted Angel, Dee Dee Woodson. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw the Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Thursday. And until tomorrow night, for TXN Sports World NFL Thursday, you've been watching this special edition of Wednesday Night Madness right here on the Zone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. And remember, my friends, no matter what anyone said, no matter what anyone tells you, beyond anything else, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.